What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to CFL Central. CFL content for the fans, by the fans. So, we finally had some CFL games. Well, preseason games, but CFL games. It's been a bit.
Yes, it has.
How excited are we to have football back in Canada?
It's great, and we had a pretty good week of football, not to mention the return, and not to mention the fact that Carter got his damn championship ring for being a CFL.
You're darn right, I
season
did.
ticket holder. Look at that baddie. I have
Season
last year's
ticket holder, get you this in Winnipeg.
I have the first year. That's the other one right now. I know you guys can't see with the glare. Let's turn off that camera. There you guys go. That's for
Back
the
to
first
back,
one.
man. There you go.
I'll have to get mine.
That's where it's
soon.
at.
I'll have to get mine soon.
Leaving these two open. Anyways, but yeah, so we had 4 games this week. We're gonna have 5 for this coming week. This coming week is starting early. It's starting today if you're watching this. But yeah, I mean, we started off with the Toronto Argonauts versus the Ottawa RedBlacks. All right, so as I predicted, the Ottawa RedBlacks will take this first game, and I gotta say, it was a little bit interesting because they did start Jeremiah Mazzoli like I thought they would, and Jalen Acklin and a few others. But I mean, like most teams this week, they did pull out more of their starters, or pull out more of their starters and put, their backups in and whatnot. I actually thought that Ottawa was going to keep more of them in just because they have so many new faces and they may just want to get everyone playing together and get more field exposure that way. But it makes sense. Don't risk them getting injured.
They kind of did that.
So yeah.
Well, they kind of did that, though, Carter, because you had some really good connections from Mazzoli to Acklin in that first half of that game, and I really thought that some of these new additions to this club, even though they didn't play the full game, when they were given opportunity on snaps, looked really good and really sharp. And it's the first preseason game, too, so hopefully they can build off that performance. But I really liked Ottawa in this game over Toronto.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it was really nice because, I mean, obviously, leading them in this game with receiving yards was RJ Harris, averaging 15.3 per reception. So not bad, getting that first down and some for each play there. And Jackson Bennett, their rushing yards, got 8.9, so almost a first down and over a first down for rushing yards and receiving yards. So overall, not bad at all. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be interesting to see, which players in these preseason games actually make the lineup come season. Just because I bet you a few of them will per each team, but it's just kind of interesting to see who. So yeah, Ottawa beats Toronto 23-17. So that will bring us into our next game, which is the Edmonton Elks versus the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Well, you guys should take cake. Hey, don't look at me, buddy. They may be my team too, but you were at this game. I was not at this game, so take it away. Please tell everyone what you thought of it from being live in that stadium.
It was nice to be back at IG Field.
I bet it was, my friend.
It was nice to be back.
The new bling, right? Must have felt pretty damn good.
No, I got this afterwards. I didn't. They
didn't give it to you when you
this.
entered. Oh, that sucks.
No. It was actually at a. They had a season. There's a season ticket holder exclusive event that I went to.
Nice.
They had actually Bomber players there. I sadly had to go. I had a family. Dinner. I had to leave. There was a very long lineup for the photos with Willie Jefferson. Sad I had to miss out on that. I will find a way to get that man's signature one day. We will figure it out. But I mean, yeah, I think this was an interesting game. This is actually the only one I got wrong. I predicted the Bombers to win. Then again, it's one of those things where I had no idea how many of our starting guys were going to be playing.
Absolutely.
So I mean,
and when you look at
Collaterals doesn't even touch the field here.
When you look at the guys that we had out there for quarterback, it's not a surprise that we lost by 10 points in this game. It's really not. And when you look, we talked about this not too long ago, right before we started this recording. Johnny Augustine, he had a great game today. You had good performances on the Bombers, but just not collectively enough to win this game.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
really
I mean, Brown, Augustine, and Dembski, who are leading here in passing, rushing, and receiving yards respectively, were the 3 stars of the game, and it shows here on the score sheet. Excuse me. I think one of the interesting stand-up performances was Drew Brown, because we saw him and Prukop And I gotta say, I was actually very pleased with Brown, and he looked like a very solid backup. So I'm excited to see, what kind of situations he'll actually get in the regular season. Hopefully, we don't need him for entire games, because heaven forbid anything happens to Zach Collaterals.
Heaven
But I
forbid
find it
Ticats
interesting
needs
here
to hit the
because
field in a regular season game.
yeah, because I mean the interesting thing here for Edmonton is that Edmonton's not in the situation like the Bombers in the sense of the Bombers have a very definitive starting quarterback and then a very definitive backup. For Edmonton, they kind of have a 1A 1B situation. And they had both guys playing. So they had Arbuckle and Cornelius. Arbuckle would start and Cornelius would then finish the game. It didn't look like they had almost any other. I don't even know if any other quarterbacks even touched the field there.
I'm
but
not saying that Kai Loxley was playing for the Elks in that game.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there's probably a few others, but it looked like for the most part
11,
that
9 for 11, 85 yards.
Oh, I'll be damned.
I saw that and I was like, I feel like I can't ignore that. That's a.
Oh no, absolutely. Please say that, please.
85 yards, 81.8% completion. Really good game for Kai Loxley. Let's pull up his stats real quick. First year in the league, looks like a rookie.
There you go. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, it was nice. I think it must have been nice for Edmonton's fans seeing Jalen Marshall showing some promise there. One of their acquisitions from the Ticats through via free agency, as like almost every transaction this offseason was through free agency.
A lot of activity in the past free agency. It was quite entertaining.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it's one of those things where for these teams, the most important thing is not actually going to be team performance, but more individual performances to see who makes those starting lineups. So yeah, Elks win over the Bombers 30-20 in week 1 of the preseason. And that will bring us into our next game, the BC Lions versus the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, Carter, this was just a spanking on the Lions by the Stampeders in this one. 41-6, the final for the Stampeders.
Yeah, looks like I gotta say,
reminiscing on that game last year from the Bombers.
It appears that whatchamacallit, that the Stampeders
they've taken some lessons.
Taking some lessons from the Bombers in terms of beating the shit out of the Lions. But yeah, I mean, it is interesting, seeing how the Lions are going to have to adjust now that Riley isn't there and Rourke is going to be your number one guy. So they had Michael O'Connor basically playing the majority of this game. Calgary plays Jake Mayer here. It looks like they had him playing quite a while at least. Obviously he was not the only one in there, but he was enough to lead in passing yards with 90 yards.
Bo Levi underperforming though, 3 for 10. That was a little bit surprising.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, Bo Levi Mitchell did have a rough start at the start of last season. However, there was a nagging injury there. I don't think there is one here. But nevertheless, it did take him a few games to kind of get up to speed.
Ball. That's not good. No, either way, I'm just saying that's a rough stat. And then I was gonna say in defense of my hometown Bombers, hometown Lions. I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, this was not their best lineup. When you look at the guys that were in this game, the rushing, the receiving, this was not the Lions that we're going to see in the regular season. So yes, this was a spanking, but I think this is more of a test to see how much depth they have and where they can kind of pull from this depth to build a better team for the Lions in this season. Yeah. But that's basically my assumptions from this game on what was fielded.
Yeah, and I gotta imagine that the Stampeders are very pleased with this, as it was very publicly known about a few days before this game happened that the coach, I believe it was the head coach, it could have been offensive or defensive coordinator. Nevertheless, one of their coaches was very, very fed up with the amount of talent and the lack of results from this Calgary Stampeders team. So looks like all his players got behind him, whether those guys will be on the starting lineup or not, as they got 41 points that night. So maybe that's just kind of a little bit of the kick in the tush that they need to move forward here. But yeah, 41-6 Stampeders victory over the Lions. And that will bring us into our last game of the week, the Montreal Alouettes versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
This was a pretty damn entertaining game. I gotta say, this was a close game, a good back and forth classic CFL game, and it was really fun to have this one in there. I love this. Felt like a game from past seasons, not like something we saw last year. High scoring, just a fun overall game where anyone could have won. This was really just a good one.
Yeah, and I find it interesting that leading passing here for the Alouettes is going to be Trevor Harris. So it was interesting because they dropped Trevor Harris then just to re-sign him to bring him back. So not sure what was going on in the offseason there. So I almost wondered at how excited to be back Trevor Harris would be, considering they dropped him first before signing him. But I mean, yeah, he was averaging
more money, Carter. Maybe he's happier now than he ever was.
There you go. There's probably something I don't know. But yeah, I mean, he, as you can see here, he got 10.3 yards on average. So averaging that first down is never a bad thing. But the Ticats would just barely squeeze one past him. However, it looked like quite a performance from Krishan Hogan here from the Alouettes with 102 receiving yards, averaging 9.3 per carry, so almost a first down on each. And yeah, it looked like overall quite a solid performance in terms of the receiving. It looks like they weren't running the ball a lot, though, as rushing yards. Their leading rusher has only 7 yards for this game. So I got to imagine that ball was in the air almost all the time. So, yeah, I mean, overall, there's nothing wrong, though, with a good close game. That, even if the football is not the same quality as it would be in the regular season, when you got a close game, there's something to kind of get behind.
Exactly.
It's a bit more interesting. You know what I mean? As opposed to a 41-6 blowout.
CFL preseason. If you're a fan of football and you're watching this just because you're a fan of football, a close game, regardless of good play or bad play, is just something to be entertained by, right? That's all it is for me at this point. So at the end of the day, I can't complain with it because at least football's back. We're getting closer to the regular season. I'm excited. I should have bought season tickets. I didn't. But either way, I'm going to go to a lot of games. Carter's going to be games. Your guys going to be able to go to games. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much wraps up what we got here for our week 1 of the preseason with our reviews. Make sure to check out our preview of week 2 coming up soon.
Very soon.
Or actually, unless it's already up, check it out.
Maybe,
please do. And yeah, make sure you catch yourself games, whether they're televised, because the Bombers Elks game was not. So yeah, make sure you guys have a great and wonderful rest of your day. I'm forgetting how to talk.
Peace, love, and positivity as always, ladies and gentlemen.
There you go.
And
bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Go Bombers, go.
Woo.